Now we're going to test the Testo 316-4. Let's see right here. I had to order this from Japan to get it in. I'm going to test it on R134a first. So you got to wait for its warm-up sequence. It does appear to be a heated diode in there. It does its countdown. It actually has, here's an extra sensor. It actually does some diagnostics on the sensor, which is kind of nice. Tells you when your sensor's bad. It's supposed to. Once it warms up, you select a refrigerant. It has two modes. A high sensitivity mode, which is just to let you know you have a leak, and then they call it a pinpoint, which is a lower sensitivity, to let you to zoom in to where the leak is. So I'll let it finish doing its warm-up sequence here. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to the SRL8. Got my 10 parts per million balloon. Okay, we're ready. We're already on 134A. Looks like 134A, probably going to use that for R410 also, because they don't really have a 410 setting. And this sensor actually does hydrogen. That's interesting. (134A). Let's fill our syringe with the full 10 parts per million. Let's see how it does. Actually, I need an adapter to get it to fit this hose. Oh well, no adapter. Okay. We'll just put it in slowly. Okay, 10 parts per million. Try that again. Oh, you know what? We're on pinpoint mode. Let's get it off of that mode. Take our sensitivity up. There we go. We're off of pinpoint mode. So it easily picks up 10. So now let's go down to 5. So we're going to push out to 50 cc's, and then we're going to suck in air to 100. Now we'll be at 5 cc. Okay, here's 5 cc, or 5 parts per million. Okay, it picks that up pretty easily. Now we're going to blend down again. Here's 2.5 parts per million. See what we get. Picks that up pretty easily. Now we're going to blend down again to 1.25 parts per million. Mixing up the syringe. Nice. Picks that up. Now we're going to blend down again to 0.6 parts per million. I'm going to do another test if it picks this up. Or I'll start at 1 parts per million. Okay, so now we're 0.6 parts per million, or that would be 600 parts per billion with a B. Nice. Barely picking that up. Okay, so now I'm going to do another test. Let's go ahead and start right at 1 parts per million on a syringe. So we're just going to fill up, we're going to go 10 cc, and then we're going to blend 90 cc with air. So 10 cc of 10 parts per million refrigerant. 90 cc of, or take it out to 100 of air. So now we're 1 parts per million. Mix it up. Air mixes just like liquids. Give it a little bit of turbulence and it mixes fine. Here's 1 part per million. Nice. So let's take it down to 0.5 part per million. So we're going to go to 50 cc. And then we're going to suck in air. So now we're at 0.5 part per million. Mix it up. Now anything less than 1 part per million, you're going to be picking up pretty small leaks. The best leak detectors like the H10 on R134a only can go to 0.1 parts per million when you have your leak detector running good. So here's 0.5 part. Nice. So it's going red. Let's see how many bars we're getting here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. So now let's do half of that. Let's do 250 parts per billion with a B. Here's 250. See if it picks it up. So that gave me, damn, 4 bars also. Let's do 125 parts per billion. Take it out. 50, pull in air. Got 100. 125 parts per billion. And actually, the SRL8 on R134a only went to about this. This would be the same as the SRL8. Oh, that's nice. Let's go down to 65 parts per billion. Now this will be amazing if it goes to that. Here's 65 parts per billion. Damn. Let's do 30 parts per billion. Also, we need to check if we're just sensing air, because some of these things can be air sensitive. Let's make sure I'm not blowing smoke, or I'm not supposed to. Yeah, we could have an air sensitivity issue. Okay, so now let's just do plain old air. Whoa, really is picking up refrigerant. Yeah, notice it's not picking up air. Okay, I'm going to pretend there's a refrigerant, do the test. And maybe 1 bar is the air. Because these things, you're changing the temperature when you're changing your, airflow on it. See on breath. Yeah, of course, breath goes crazy. Now that's moisture. And just kind of normal to have moisture sensitivity. Breathe. I'm going to breathe a little further away. So definitely moisture sensitive. It's also possible it could be alcohol sensitive. I did have a drink about an hour ago. So nice. Okay, let's go straight to 100 parts per billion, R134a. So we're going to do 10 cc's and I'm going to blend it down right away. Okay, 1 part per million with the M. Mix that up, and I'm going to blend down to 100 parts per billion. I'm going to divide it by 10. Simple math. Okay. Here's 100 parts per million. We'll confirm that that's sensitive, and then I'm going to go right down to 10 parts per million right away. Billion, that is. 10 parts. So right now, 100 parts per billion. Blowing very slow. You can see it's very sensitive. Okay, so now we're going to go right to 10 parts per billion. If this picks that up, this thing's crazy, actually more sensitive than you need. Okay, here's 10 parts per billion with a B. That would put this thing 1,000 times more sensitive than some of the really crappy leak detectors out there. Yeah, it definitely picks that up. Just barely. Try that again. Yeah, it's kind of not picking it up. So I'm going to go to 20 parts per billion. So I'm going to blend right down to it. First I do my 10 cc. First I do my 1,000 parts per billion. Here's 1 part per million. Now I'm going to take that down to 100 parts per billion. Okay, here's 100 parts per billion. I'm going to go right down to 25. So I'm basically going to take my syringe out to 25. I'm going to do divide by 4. Here's 25 parts per billion with a B. Yeah, didn't really pick it up. So I'm going to call this at 50 parts per billion for R134a. Which is crazy sensitive. R134a PPM. That's just crazy. I'm going to double check that because that's just a crazy sensitivity. Okay, first do our 1 parts per million. And then I'm going to go right down to 50. Just by taking it out to 5. Now here's 50 parts per billion with a B. Mix up my gas. Let's go to 100. Not picking it up. My bad breath seems to have desensitized it. Let's go to 100 parts per billion. That would put it the same as the SRL8. So here's 1. Obviously picks that up. Okay, here's 100 parts per billion, mixing it down, divide by 10. Not really getting that. Let's try 200 then. Seems to have desensitized. Battery's a little lower. the ultimate test is going to be field testing this thing for a year, seeing how it does. Okay, so here's 1 part per million. So now let's go to 200. So we're going to do a divide by 5. Here's 200 parts per billion. Definitely desensitized. I'm going to try powering it off and rebooting. Now I'll take it right to 100. This is definitely acting squirrely. It's kind of moving its sensitivity around. Not what I like to see. While it's doing that, then we're going to go right to 100. Okay, here's 1 part per million. Let's get it off of that. Okay, 1 should make it go bananas, which it does. And let's go right to 200. There's 200 parts per billion. Barely picking that up. And mix my balloon up again, make sure we don't have an issue with that. Let's try 200 parts. I think that was my breath. Let's go right back to 200 parts per billion. Yeah, it's barely picking that up. So we're 0.2 ppm. Definitely vibration sensitive. What about just waving it? No, that's okay. So if you're kind of rattling around a little bit, yeah, you're fine there. do 200 parts per billion again. Here's one part. Okay, 1 part per million. Here's 200 parts per billion. Yeah, barely getting that. So pretty consistent, 200 parts per billion on R134a. Let's compare what the plus sign does. The search sign. Okay, here's 1 parts per million. Yeah, just lower sensitivity. So it doesn't even pick up 1. Let's try 2. Okay, now we're going to do 2 parts per million. Let's see if the zeroing works. It just kind of lowers your sensitivity. Here's 2. Yeah, that lowers it a lot. Barely picking up 2. That's good, not picking up my breath anymore. That's not too bad. Okay, so plus so the plus symbol lowers you about 10x on your sensitivity. That would put you like you're basically what an H10 would be doing. Alright, so 0.2 ppm R134a.